last video we had covered 2 points, that is the force on a current carrying conductor and the motion in a magnetic field. And in the last video we had seen the motion in a magnetic field, and that motion was the motion of the charge which had exerted the circular path. And in this video we are going to see again the motion in a magnetic field, but this motion will be the helical motion. So first of all, let us recap what the circular motion was about. Okay. So this cross symbol shows the magnetic field, and the direction of that magnetic field is inwards, that is into the plane of the paper. And when the charge moves with a velocity, I already told you to remember one important thing about that, that when a charge is moving, then and only then the magnetic force will be exerted on that. For a stationary charge which is put in the magnetic field, no magnetic force will be exerted on that. This is the important thing that you should remember. So suppose a charge is moving with a velocity v, and we already know the magnetic field direction is inwards. If a charge is moving over here, its velocity, it is in upward direction, then these magnetic field and the velocity direction both are perpendicular to each other. Then the force that is exerted on the charge will be determined by what? It will be determined by the right hand rule. And I already said that, see, you need to put the fingers in the direction of the magnetic field. The thumb should be in the direction of the velocity. So you need to put like this. The finger shows the direction of the magnetic field. The thumb shows the velocity. So where will be the force? The force will be exerted which is perpendicular to this palm. So it is inverse. If your charge is over here, then it is moving with velocity in this direction, and we know magnetic field is inside. So where will be the force? The magnetic field is inwards, that is shown by the fingers, and this thumb shows the direction of the velocity. So where will be the force? The force is perpendicular to this palm, which is inwards. So what happens? The charge which is put in a magnetic field which is moving, then it will cover this circular path. The moving charge, when it is placed in the uniform magnetic field, then it will be having the circular path. And when we see that it is having circular path and the force direction is inwards, then we can say the magnetic force provides the centripetal force that we have already derived, that is mv square by r, which is nothing but the centripetal force, and which is provided by the magnetic force, which is what? Which is qvb sin theta. Here theta is what? It is the angle between b and d. Theta is angle between b and b, and we know that the angle between b and d at every point on the circular path, it is perpendicular to each other. So here theta can be taken as 90 degrees. So we can write mv square by r is equals to qvb. Cancelling out this b, we got the value of r. Taking r as the subject, taking qb over here, so that will be mv upon qb. So we had derived the radius of the circular path on which the charged particle will be moving. Okay, here the product of mass and velocity, that is nothing but the momentum. So we can relate this radius of the circular path and the momentum. We can say that the radius of the circular path is directly proportional to momentum. If we write this in terms of momentum, Q is the charge on the particle, D is the magnetic field. So if the momentum is moved, right, then the radius of the circular path will be moved. That means what? If we give large momentum to the charged particle, then the charged particle will cover the circular path with larger radius. So larger the momentum, larger will be the radius of the circular path. As well as from this radius of the circular path, we had derived the time period, and we know what is the time period. Periodic time is what? The time taken by this charged particle to complete one whole revolution, right? So here T is equals to what? Time taken, and that can be used in the form of this formula of speed. Speed is equals to distance upon time taken. So time is equals to distance upon velocity, and distance over here, that means the distance covered for one circular path, we can take its circumference 2 pi r upon the velocity, and r over here is what? mv upon qb. So t is equals to 2 pi. Instead of r, I can write mv upon qb upon v. So this gets cancelled out. So what we are having, t is equals to 2 pi m qb. Now students, why I have derived it again? See, you need to understand this, that the radius of the circular path depends on momentum. More the momentum, more will be the radius of the circular path. That means we will be getting a large circle for its motion. Again, why I have taken this periodic time? Because no matter what, with what velocity the charged particle will be moving, but the time taken by the charged particle to move in the circular path, it does not depend on the velocity, whether the velocity is greater or it is less, or it remains constant, whatever it may be, but time period does not depend on the velocity with which the charged particle moves. Okay, so we are having the equation of radius of the circular path, periodic time, as well as we had seen the frequency, that is 1 by t. You can write in the form of that, which is qb upon 2 pi m, right? And also we can derive the angular frequency, that is omega, which we can write it as 2 pi f. So 2 pi, and what is f? That is qb upon 2 pi m. This gets cancelled out, so we can write omega is equals to qb upon m, right? Up to in the last lecture we had derived up to this periodic time and frequency. These terms, the angular frequency, you need to note down, and then we will go to the helical motion, how the helical motion works. So you may just copy down this and just recall all these formulas, because on the basis of this theory, that is for the circular motion, we are going to understand the helical motion of the charged particle. So just note down this angular frequency. So we have already seen 3 cases, right, for the magnetic force, that is Fm qvb sin theta, right? So case 1, let us take 2 cases together. For case 2, theta is equals to 180 degree. That means for this, theta is equals to 0 degree or 180 degree. In both the cases, sin 0 degree and sin 180 degree, it will be 0. So we can say the magnetic force will be 0. And for case 3, that is for theta is equals to 90 degree, Fm is equals to what? That will be qvb, because sin 90 degree becomes 1. So Fm is equals to qvb, which is the maximum force. And we had seen that when theta is equals to 90 degree, that is when the angle between the velocity and the magnetic field, when it is 90 degree, both are perpendicular to each other, then the charged particle will take a circular path, that we had seen right now. Now, what if there is angle other than this 0 degree, 180 degree and 90 degree? positive charge which is moving with velocity vector v, and this velocity vector makes an angle theta with this vector v. So what will be the force exerted on that, and how will be the path taken by such a charged particle in which the theta is neither 0 degree nor 180 degree or it is not 90 degree, because it is clear that if 0 degree and 180 degree is there, angle between velocity and magnetic field, then no force will be exerted on that, right? If there is 90 degree, then the charged particle will be having the circular path, and any angle other than that, then what? So this is the velocity, this is the magnetic field. So what will be the case? Now see, in that case we have studied in 11th standard that when you take a vector like this, right, vector v and vector v, then for taking perpendicular line we need to consider its component. That means we already know I need what? I need a perpendicular component over here, so that velocity component should make 90 degree angle with this magnetic field vector. So velocity is in this direction, so I need the component of this velocity, and we know we have a horizontal component that is along the x-axis and a vertical component which is along y-axis, right? These horizontal component, because here angle theta is there, so when we take the projection of vector v on these axes, it will be giving me the horizontal component which is nothing but v cos theta, or I can also denote it as v parallel. Why I can denote it as v parallel? Because this velocity component is along the direction of the magnetic field. So this velocity component is parallel to the magnetic field. So I can denote it as v parallel because in some of your books it is given as v parallel. And because it is the horizontal component, I can also write it as v cos theta. Now about the perpendicular component. If I take the projection of this vector on this vector, then it will be giving me what? It will be giving me v sin theta, right? Or I can also write it as v perpendicular. Why I can write it as v perpendicular? Because this velocity component is perpendicular to the magnetic field vector. So this velocity component is also written as v perpendicular. Now see, now I cannot get the direction of the force and the path by simply taking this velocity whose angle is just theta. So in that case I need to take the components for which the component should be parallel to the magnetic field and the component should be perpendicular to the magnetic field. So I have taken two components. Now let us see one by one. Now we already know that if the velocity which is parallel to this magnetic field, right, that we had seen in case 1, theta is equals to 0 degree. Theta is equals to 0 degree is when velocity vector and magnetic field vector both are on the same direction. So here the velocity component, that is v cos theta, and the magnetic field both are in the same direction. That means this is parallel to what? It is parallel to the vector. That means what? Theta is 0 degree. The angle between these component v cos theta and v vector, that is 0 degree. That means what? Magnetic force will not exert on that. Right? That means what? The charge which is already moving with its particular velocity, it will continue its motion with the same velocity. It is not having velocity, that means it is not given force due to the magnetic force, right? Magnetic force is not exerted on that, but it is moving with its original velocity. Okay. Now what about this perpendicular component? We can see it over here that the velocity vector, that is the perpendicular component, it is perpendicular to the vector. That means what? This velocity component is making 90-degree angle with this magnetic field vector. Now see this case 3. If theta is equals to 90-degree, then the magnetic force is exerted on the charged particle and it is equals to UVB. And in such case, the charged particle will be having the circular path. It will be moving following the circular path. So what I can say over here, that due to the perpendicular component, that is V sin theta, what happens? The charged particle moves in a circular path. Due to this perpendicular component, the charge moves in a circular path. Now what will be the force direction? See, magnetic field, it is in this direction. Again we need to take the right hand rule. Magnetic field is towards the direction of the fingers. Here my velocity component is where? It is in up direction, that is y-axis. So my thumb should point this velocity component. Then where should be the force? The force is always perpendicular to the palm and my palm is inwards. So the force will be inwards, right? Direction of the force which is exerted on the moving charge will be inwards. So where will my charge move? The charge will be moving like this. It will be moving like this, taking force in the inward direction. Okay. Now, due to the perpendicular component, charged particle moves in a circular path and the force is exerted inward. So, it will move like this, inside. And due to this component, that is, due to the parallel component, V cos theta, the charged particle will not have any effect of what? Any effect of magnetic force. Because I already told that magnetic force will be 0 if both are parallel or anti-parallel to each other. And here in this case, the component, velocity component and V vector, they are parallel to each other. So, what happens? The charged particle, moves in or moves along magnetic field with its velocity. It will be moving with its own velocity. That is, because of the V cos theta, the charged particle tries to move along the magnetic field. It tries to move along the magnetic field. This is important thing. Now see, because of these any angle between 0 and 90 degree, we have taken two components. For the perpendicular component, the charged particle takes the circular path. For the parallel component, the charged particle moves along the magnetic field, that is along the straight path. So what will be the effect of these two components? Because we cannot take it separate, we need its combination. Due to this perpendicular component and due to this parallel component, the path taken by the charged particle will be somewhat like this. That means it is taking a circular path as well as it is the perpendicular component and the parallel component, the charged particle will take the helical path. It is moving like this. It takes a rotation, moves in straight line, again takes a rotation, moves in straight line, again takes a rotation. So this is how the helical motion is done by the charged particle when its velocity makes an angle with the magnetic field which is not 0 degree, not 180 degree or 90 degree. That means the angle is between 0 and 90 degree. In such case, the charged particle will take the helical motion. Okay. So first of all, you need to copy down this figure as well as these two important points, and then we will discuss about the time taken by that, the radius of this helical path, and the important point which will relate this helical motion as well as the circular motion. But first, copy down this two important points as well as this figure. So here, as you can see, that the perpendicular component of the charged particle moves in the circular path. Sorry, the perpendicular component of the velocity takes the charged particle in the circular path. So here, when it takes the circular path and then when it moves in a straight line, then at that time the centripetal force provided by the magnetic force, that can be written as, instead of velocity, here we are taking the perpendicular component of the velocity, so we can write v sin theta square upon r, and the magnetic force, that will be q, instead of qvb we will be writing qb v sin theta. We are taking the perpendicular component of the velocity. So cancelling out this, what we have, mv sin theta by r equals to qb. So what will be the radius of the path taken, that is r is equals to qb. So r is equals to mv sin theta upon q, right? And what about this parallel component? Now see, here you can see that there is a one circular path, then it moves ahead and takes another rotation. So there is a distance between these two circular paths. When we take like this, as we had studied in micrometer screw gauge about the pitch, right? So pitch is actually what? It is the distance between two consecutive circles. So when the charged particle is moving in this helical path, taking one circle, moving ahead, again taking one circle and moving ahead. So between that two consecutive circles, the distance is called as what? It is called as pitch. Pitch is what? It is distance, we can say horizontal distance, because due to this parallel component of the velocity, the charged particle is moving along x-axis, along the horizontal direction. So horizontal distance between two consecutive circles is called pitch. Or in the other way, we can also define it as the distance traveled by the charged particle along the magnetic field. So I think this would be easy to remember because you know the pitch for the micrometer screw gauge. So here the horizontal distance between two consecutive circles is called as pitch. Okay. Now let us calculate the formula of the pitch. So again over here, to take the t. Okay. So v parallel into periodic time t gives me the value of pitch, and v parallel, that is what? That is v cos theta. Now see, here we have taken the formula of R, which is mv sin theta by qv, right? And for periodic time, which is what? Again you can write v is equals to d by t, and t is equals to distance upon speed, right? Where distance is what? Taking one circular path, that is 2 pi r upon velocity, and here r is what? That is mv upon qv, and here that is v. These gets cancelled out. So t is equals to what? That is 2 pi n upon qv, that we have studied. Now see, for the circular motion also and for the helical motion, periodic time does not depend on the velocity. So in both the cases, t is equals to what? That is 2 pi n upon qv. So here I can substitute the value of t over here. For v parallel, that is v cos theta, and for t it is what? It is 2 pi n upon qv. So pitch is equals to what? 2 pi n v cos theta upon qv. So you may note it down. The definition as well as this formula is important while we are taking the parallel component, right? And periodic time that does not depend on the velocity. For both the circular motion and helical motion, it is one and the same, that is 2 pi n upon q. So you may